over the past 2.5, 3 months, I've been having series of conversations with thought leaders and individuals which nation wants to know about. And today I'm extremely delighted and fascinated to have with me Swapan Dasgupta. He's a member of parliament from the Bharatiya Janata Party. He has been a senior journalist and he calls himself a conservationist, if I'm not mistaken. His Twitter profile says, yes, conservative. Yes, and on television, I remember in the past decade, he has been the voice, the minority voice on television discussions, if I can liberally use that word. But it's a pleasure to have you here, sir, and it's great to have you here. And I hope you are safe on COVID and taking the necessary precautions.
Thank you very much for inviting me, Pradeep.
Yes. Let me begin my conversation with you, Mr. Gupta, on something which was very serious and which has missed the wider attention. And this is what happened in Bengal and particularly in Calcutta on June 11, 2020. And this is to do with a video which went viral, which was to do with the civic workers handling COVID bodies. And this has circulated across on WhatsApps in West Bengal. This was reported by some media outlets. But somehow, this has missed the wider attention. My larger question to you is that A, do you believe that you as a party in Bengal have taken it seriously? Do you want to take it further across? Why do I say that? I say that because there are talks that the numbers that the West Bengal government is reporting on COVID are not genuine numbers.
Thank you very much for this question. Firstly, my name is Dasgupta, not Gupta. Anyway.
I will correct that in my second question. Thank you.
Yeah. See, this particular video which you talked about, which has gone viral, at least I saw it many times, which was sent to me from Bengal, actually shows a crematorium. It shows local people agitating outside a crematorium because they'd been repelled by the smell of it. And inside a truck were bodies, many bodies. Some people say 15, I don't know. It's not quite evident from the thing. But what it also shows is that some sanitation workers or people from the crematorium dragging each body by a rope as if they are dragging a carcass of an animal. So that dignity which is due to people in death, as you well know, people who die of the coronavirus in a hospital are not allowed the proper cremation with the rights and the relatives, etc., for certain safety reasons. But that doesn't mean that they should be subjected in death to such indignity. A certain basic modesty, a certain degree, a modicum of dignity should be allowed to people in death. And this is incidentally not the first such video which has been shown. Earlier, we've seen videos of the bodies being sort of dragged along in Calcutta Medical College Hospital. We've seen a body being dumped on the pavement by workers outside of the hospital in Veliaghata. So it's pretty much a recurrent thing. And this ties in with a larger accusation which had been made. And it began with the various things that those who died of what is called comorbidity were not to be registered as victims of the coronavirus, which resulted in the suppression of the actual numbers of people who were both affected as well as people who were dead. And it was a deliberate suppression of figures. Now, nobody in their right minds has said, Mamta Banerjee, you are responsible for bringing in the coronavirus into West Bengal. But we all recognize that when a grave public health situation like this has arisen in a state, we should be told what the accurate figures are. And that is what helps in the larger planning process of what sort of planning needs to be done. Whether you need the lockdown to be total, whether you need the lockdown to be partial, whether you need it in particular areas, whatever the necessary measures which have been taken. Now, as a result of this callous attitude, this particular disregard for the reality of what's happening in Bengal, we saw that the lockdown process, the 18-day lockdown which began when it was the most stringent, that was not even fully applicable fully applied in Bengal. And today, if you look at it, it's horrific to see overcrowded people actually hanging out of buses, not even a semblance of anything which is happening, bazaars operating in the usual way, that elementary precautions which are not taken. So the fear which people have of another wave, a very serious wave, is now becoming a reality. And I will not be surprised if in the next few days we see a complete explosion of people who have been affected by coronavirus happening in Bengal. Now, the reason for this is that for a very long time, Mamta Banerjee and her government claimed that the public health apparatus in West Bengal was fantastic, that we've built up super specialty hospitals, etc., etc. When it came to the test, all these were shown to be rather spurious and not borne out by actual evidence of people on the ground. And the mismanagement and the brutal treatment of people, which resulted in doctors going on strike, which resulted in doctors protesting, which resulted in the police protesting. So you had a particular breakdown of all those people who are responsible for managing this public health issue being up in arms. So that breakdown of that whole civil administration to deal with this is actually an evidence of this, is what you found in that particular in that particular video which was shown, which has gone viral.
Mr. Dasgupta, I have traveled in Bengal during the time of COVID, and I've recently come from Bengal. And one thing which I've noticed is that I have not seen any social distancing norm, but at the same time, I have seen a level of fear in the people because the data on the ground is not transparent. And this I've seen in villages in Malda, Dinajpur, all these places. I'm not talking about Calcutta. But my question to you is that when Disaster Management Act is imposed, the central government has the authority that it can guide the state government. So if the state government is failing, if the data on the ground is not transparent, we've seen in the past that how center had sent a team. Do you feel that you are reluctant enough to indulge in West Bengal, and you are not indulging enough in West Bengal? Why do I say that? Because the situation on ground in Bengal, as you are reiterating, and I've also seen from my travel, is not that good. Do you feel that the central government and your government should do more in guiding the West Bengal government if it is faltering?
You see, this is a very delicate issue. At, at a political level, Mamta Banerjee has taken the battle against COVID-19 and in the management of the disaster which followed the Amphan cyclone as a battle between the center and the state. Initially, when that central team came after there were large allegations that social distancing is not being maintained, the proper enumeration of those who have died or have been affected have not been there. For 3 days, the central team was barely allowed to go out. I mean, this sort of misbehavior which was done, and the chief secretary of the state actually giving statements in a public press conference, which was completely, which sort of as if these are some sort of alien intruders who've come in. So the implementation of the Disaster Management Act, which calls for both a responsive center and a responsive state. The basic assumption of it is there has to be a certain degree of trust. That's only, faced with a disaster, you must cooperate. And that cooperation has been gone, which has resulted in the governor getting involved in this, trying to pressure the state government into doing it. And for Mamta Banerjee, this COVID crisis was another an excuse to resume a political battle against Narendra Modi. Now, I can understand her having a political battle with Narendra Modi. That's, understandable. But to bring it into something like this, and you're talking about villages,
Absolutely
that fear, nobody trusts that data.
true.
And everybody is giving anecdotal evidence, this village में ये हो रहा है, उस गांव में ऐसा हो रहा है, उस घर में ऐसा. Today, for example, Calcutta has about 200, 250 or even more containment zones. But what does it mean in reality? It means that the house of that person who's been affected by this, is there's a little rope around the house. That's one thing. Previously, it used to be a certain locality which used to be sealed off. Now they've even abandoned that. It's just a naam ka waste. कुछ करना है तो दिखा दो. And anyone can do whatever they feel like. So it's the lack of seriousness and the willful politicization of everything, starting from the management of the corona thing to the organization of relief in the Amphan cyclone, which is thing. And I think this is very, very sad. It's a very, I say this with a degree of sadness, because
Yes.
at the end of the day, it's the people who get affected by this.
Mr. Dasgupta, I also want to indulge further on this question, and I agree with what you are saying, at least on the ground. But my question to you is that from degree of sadness, is it a time to move towards a degree of concern? And you spoke about a responsive center. Now, the situation in West Bengal is not given due attention in the national media. And I can tell you, because I have visited quarantine centers, I have seen quarantine centers where the migrant workers have been kept for 10 days without a checkup. I have seen quarantine centers where they've kept inside a jungle. And I have been to villages where people are absolutely unaware about how to deal with the COVID virus. So is it a time, Mr. Dasgupta, you've expressed sadness, but do we need to take a step further and say that till now the center has been responsive, and you understand, you have said that it is a delicate issue, but the time has come for center to be proactive, because if the state government is faltering, whatever the political repercussions, but at the end of the day, at this moment, what is most important is life of the people of this country, and particularly the residents of West Bengal. And if the state government and the state administration is not doing its duty, the center has to step in. And let me give you an example. The Delhi government was not able to handle the COVID crisis. You yourself tweeted comparing Arvind Kejriwal, the Chief Minister of Delhi, with Mamta Banerjee. So if the center can do so and guide Delhi, why can't the center do so and guide Bengal?
See, Delhi is a different situation. It's a union territory, and the distinction of powers, it's not even a full-fledged state. There are very overlapping. The lieutenant governor can override, in the case of the testing issue which is there in Delhi, which about how the hospitals must be used, etc. So it can be very easily managed within a particular thing. Now, Bengal is an entire big state. Now, what is happening in Bengal is that, as I keep mentioning this factor, that first you had when the migrant workers issue, and you knew that there are some 80 lakhs of people from West Bengal who are working all over the country. Not all of them wanted to come back. Let me also add that. But a significant number of them, the numbers are still unknown. Now, Mamta Banerjee says, oh, they're bringing a Corona Express. Now, those preparations which you needed to do, that what is the standard operating procedure to do with this? In the villages, there's complete fear. These guys are bringing in Corona, God knows. And since you've traveled to them, you'll always find a lot of anecdotal evidence. They will tell you that guy came from Uttar Pradesh, that guy came from Maharashtra, and they brought it. Now, instead, what are they doing? Outside the village, a ramshackle tent लगा के वो लोग सो रहे हैं. टेस्टिंग तो भूल जाओ. टेस्टिंग का कोई मतलब ही नहीं है. टेस्टिंग का कोई फैसिलिटीज, enlargement of testing facilities, वो तो नहीं है. Private hospitals, they are under such pressure. They can't cooperate. Now you can ask the center कि भाई हमको थोड़ा और मदद कीजिए. Give us some more medical facilities. send in relief material. Naveen Patnaik asked for some of it. He got it within the very next day in 24. I mean,
Yes.
compare how Bengal has handled it and how the neighboring state of Odisha has handled it. And I say this Odisha because I'm saying Naveen Babu also heads a non-BJP government,
Yes.
and it is
But
a national crisis. So ये attitude की बात है.
Mr. Dasgupta, but let me tell you that people are really loving this interview. I've got series of public questions, but I will tell the viewers that I'll take it towards the latter part of it. Mr. Dasgupta, somehow Derek O'Brien does not agree to it. And why do I say that? That you have particularly, when you tweeted, and I quote your tweet, and you said there are similarities between Mamta Banerjee and Arvind Kejriwal, both concealed data, and then you go on and enlist it. Derek O'Brien, an hour back, has said, Delhi has 18,000 COVID cases per crore population. Bengal only has 997. Trust facts, not rhetoric.
See, so the exact number of COVID cases in Bengal is going to remain an enduring source of mystery. Just like the exact number of deaths in Bengal out of thing is also going to be. Why is there constantly talk about secret cremations going on here, secret burials going on? एक जगह तो अलीपुर दुआर में दंगा हो गया क्योंकि लोकल आदमी लोग प्रोटेस्ट किया कि यहाँ कहाँ आप किसको कवर दे रहे हैं. So let us understand this. Now the point is, if you want to be in complete denial about what is going on, आज Derek has tweeted something about how much relief West Bengal government is giving to the people who in the Sundarbans who've been affected. भाई वो बाद में देखा गया वो जो तस्वीर he put up belong to an NGO. Government को साथ उसका कोई संपर्क नहीं है. Now Derek is fully entitled to defend his government, and I'm not saying that. I mean, that's his job. Now the point is, obviously, two things come into mind. अगर my tweet is so irrelevant, तो ignore कर दीजिए. भाई आज दिनेश त्रिवेदी भाई is tweeted उसके बारे में, Derek is tweeted. So obviously it hurts somewhere. कुछ तो लोगों को मन में लग रहा है कि कुछ है. दूसरी बात है कि ये अरविंद केजरीवाल और ममता को जो similarities, what are the similarities? It's the use of the media to paint a very rosy picture of themselves. You spoke about the media. Now, in your travels in West Bengal, you may have noticed one more thing, कि कोई बंगला पेपर दीदी के खिलाफ कुछ नहीं लिखते हैं. And if somebody wrote and public press conference में she got up and said, hey, আমার খাচ্ছো আমার এই করছো তুমি আমার বিরুদ্ধে লিখছো, ये मेरे खा रहे हैं तो आप मेरे खिलाफ कैसे लिख रहे हैं? So these sort of things are similarly. Arvind, of course, is a little more sophisticated. He does it with a great deal of charm and things like that. So even when he said कि ये Delhi is only meant for the outsiders cannot get treatment in Delhi, that's a scandalous statement. ये national capital है. भाई कौन? I live in Delhi now. I've been living in Delhi for a long time, but I also live in Calcutta. So अगर you used to tell me कि भाई you're not entitled to it, now that was a scandalous statement. But if you look at the media, उसके खिलाफ कुछ नहीं लिखा है. So there is an enduring honeymoon with Arvind Kejriwal. वो अपना लिबरल लोग उसको पसंद करते हैं. And Mamta Banerjee is great anti-secular fighter. So she can do no wrong.
Mr. Dasgupta, I want to take the liberty to dwell the last question on this. And आपने क्लियरली एक चीज कही है कि भाई ममता बनर्जी डिनायल मोड में है, ममता बनर्जी की सरकार डिनायल मोड में है, ममता बनर्जी की सरकार ग्राउंड रियलिटी को एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर रही. तो मैं आपसे ये पूछना चाहता हूं कि अगर मैं इसको एक्सटेंड करूं तो होगा क्या? दो ही चीजें हो सकती हैं स्वपन जी. पहली चीज ये हो सकती है कि हम सब इंतजार कर रहे हैं कि बंगाल के अंदर सिचुएशन कब एक्सप्लोड हो, जिससे कि या तो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट मदद मांगे या सेंटर फिर ऐसी स्थितियां बन जाए कि खुद जो है सेंटर को स्टेप इन करना पड़े, जैसे पहले टीम भेजी थी. या दूसरी चीज मुझे लग रहा है स्वपन दास गुप्ता जी कि आपको एक भय है. आपको भय ये है कि अगर आपने ओवर बंगाल के अंदर आपने स्टेप इन कर दिया तो ममता बनर्जी इसको पॉलिटिकली खेल सकती है और आपको 2021 में नुकसान हो सकता है.
हाँ, ये
तो आपको नहीं लग रहा है कि आपके पॉलिटिकल फियर की वजह से आप जितना करना चाहिए, क्योंकि मैं वापस से कह रहा हूं कि बंगाल की सरकार उतना नहीं कर रही, क्योंकि दिल्ली पास में, तो दिल्ली की खबरें हम सबको आ रही है, पर बंगाल दूर है और आपको पता है मीडिया कैसे काम करता है। तो क्योंकि बंगाल की चीजें इतनी नेशनल मेन स्ट्रीम में नहीं आ रही है, एक हफ्ते में एक बार आ गई, 2 बार आ गई, मैं कह 3,000 किलोमीटर ट्रैवल करने हर व्यक्ति हर समय वहां पे नहीं कर सकता, तो इतनी मीडिया में नहीं आ रही है। तो आपका ये भय है, आपको डर इस बात का है कि अगर जो है हम लोगों ने बंगाल के अंदर स्टेप इन कर दिया और ममता बनर्जी ने बंगाल के अंदर ये दिखा दिया कि देखो सेंटर जो है बंगला प्राइड के अगेंस्ट लड़ रहा है, बंगला प्राइड को क्वैश करने की कोशिश कर रहा है, तो हमें राजनीतिक फायदा नहीं हो पाएगा, राजनीतिक नुकसान होगा। ये डर है स्वपन जी, मुझे लग रहा है ये डर के कारण जो है आप
हाँ,
ओवर रीच नहीं कर रहे।
आप सही बात जो कह रहे हैं सही कह रहे हैं, क्योंकि ममता जी would like nothing more than to say to transform the entire national battle। ये तो सिर्फ बंगाल का बैटल नहीं है, ये तो नेशनल है। वो पूरा अटेंशन चला जाएगा कि ये पॉलिटिकल हो जाएगा, मोदी जी इज यूजिंग द कोविड क्राइसिस टू हिट टू हिट बैक एट द राइट्स ऑफ स्टेट्स। उस दिन तो प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में ममता जी बोला ठीक है आप लोग ले लीजिए, मेरा गर्दन काट दीजिए, ये सब उनके बोलो उन्हीं चलान, और अमित शाह को बोल दिया लेट अमित शाह रन द थिंग। तो शी सेज ऑल दिस। अच्छा, तो शी वांट्स इट, यू आर एब्सोल्युटली राइट, शी वांट्स टू बिकम अ शहीद, पॉलिटिकल शहीद, व्हाई शुड यू गिव हर दैट अपॉर्चुनिटी? अरे उसका जिम्मेदारी है, शी मस्ट रन इट। अच्छा, दूसरी चीज है आप जो कह रहे हैं कि will it explode? No, I don't believe it will explode like that, for a very simple reason that कोरोना में जो हो रहा है लोग के मन में डर है। At the end of the day, this is not anger, गुस्सा is couched with डर।
Absolutely.
लोगों का भय जो है, तो उस तरह का एक्सप्लोजन कुछ नहीं होगा। जहां आप एक्सप्लोजन देखेंगे लोग अपने मन में इट्स ऑल सिमरिंग, आई बिलीव दिस विल कम आउट। आप जैसा देखे थे कि 2019 का पहले एक पंचायत इलेक्शन हुआ जहां किसी को वोट नहीं डालने दिया, और उसका एक्सप्लोजन कब हुआ? तब नहीं हुआ, चुपचाप लोग 2019 का लोकसभा इलेक्शन में उसका प्रकाश, दे एक्सप्रेस देमसेल्व्स। सो आई बिलीव दिस इज समथिंग लाइक दिस which is going to happen, and I want to as when you talked about the national media, अरे हमारा एक बड़ा दोस्त है, एक I don't know whether to name him, but चलो हम नाम कर देते, my very dear friend Barkha Dutt, who went all over the country.
No, she did not go to Bengal.
Well, why didn't she go to Bengal? Is it because she only goes to Hindi speaking states?
In fact, let me tell you, sorry to interrupt you, but let me tell you that I was also amazed because I have traveled 20,000 kilometers in 11 states, and the main states where the crisis or it has to be done is Bengal, Bihar and UP, and I was amazed that the person you're talking about did not enter Bengal, Bihar and Eastern UP. Anyway, let me leave at that, but स्वपन जी, मैं आपको एक चीज बताना चाहता हूँ कि आपकी हिंदी पहले से बेहतर हो गई है, तो ये लगता है कि बीजेपी के आने के बाद का कुछ कमाल है कि आपकी हिंदी बेहतर हो चुकी है। पर मैं इसीलिए वापस से हिंदी में पूछना चाहता हूँ। स्वपन जी, मुझे लगता है अभी आपने आपके जो स्टेट प्रेसिडेंट हैं उन्होंने सौमित्रो खान को बनाया है प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ यूथ विंग ऑफ बंगाल। अब ये एक्स कांग्रेसमैन है, पिछले कुछ समय में 9 सिटिंग एमएलए टीएमसी और कांग्रेस से बीजेपी उन्होंने ज्वाइन की है। मुझे एक चीज बताइए कि अगर आप इतना कॉन्फिडेंट हैं कि बंगाल के अंदर स्थितियां खराब हैं, तो ये आप बाकी पार्टी से क्यों ले रहे हैं? ये आपसे
अच्छा, पहले तो ये बताना चाहते हैं कि सौमित्रो एक उसका यूनिकनेस है कि वो यूथ कांग्रेस का भी प्रेसिडेंट था वेस्ट बंगाल में और यूथ तृणमूल का भी प्रेसिडेंट था। नहीं, सी द पॉइंट इज वेरी सिंपली दिस, भारतीय जनता पार्टी इन अ नेशनल स्टेज इज एन ओल्ड पार्टी, बट बंगाल में इट्स अ यंग पार्टी। इसके पहले आप जो अगर देखें तो ज्यादा बिफोर 2019 बंगाल बीजेपी वाज नोन फॉर लूजिंग डिपॉजिट्स, उसका जमानत जब्त होता था ऑल ओवर, जैसा त्रिपुरा में होता था। हाँ, तो अचानक एक हो गया। नाउ एट द लेवल there is also a great deal of political violence in West Bengal, as a result of which a lot of organizational issues you cannot address in Bengal. Because your people are not even allowed to go. And for the last 50, 60 years, most of the political people in West Bengal are either with the CPM, to some extent with the Congress, and more with the Trinamool Congress. So the choice of people who were inclined towards you, who thought of it, was not there. So it is natural there will be a flow of people. ये उत्तर प्रदेश में भी हुआ. आप अगर उत्तर प्रदेश में बीजेपी का एमपीज एमएलएज आप देखें, उसका एनालिसिस करिए, उनका पॉलिटिकल पास्ट क्या था, आप देखेंगे यही है. So I am not particularly worried about that particular. There has to be a mixture, and ये अमित शाह जी भी बता के आ गया है बहुत बार कि भाई the BJP will not get ruined ideologically because some people have come in. So it is inevitable that there will be, and I believe more people will come in.
Absolutely.
There are many more people, including ministers of the Trinamool Congress, who, if I might tell my friend Derek O'Brien, that who are actually knocking.
You are in talks. So you are in talks.
No. There are people who are making overtures. They are looking for timing. But remember one thing in West Bengal. There is a complete atmosphere of fear. And you must have gauged that.
Yeah.
अगर आप ईस्टर्न यूपी में जाते हैं तो चाय की दुकान में आपको बहुजन वाला, बहुजन समाज, समाजवादी, बीजेपी, ये वो सब अपने आप में, they have big arguments, but they don't kill each other. बंगाल में यही फर्क है कि there is political murder. And that political culture is something which, is extraordinary.
Let me take further on the political point, and being a psephologist, I want to ask you a question. And you've been a very regular on analyzing elections. So in 2019, when we analyzed the Lok Sabha election of the BJP, we were the first people to say that BJP will get 18 seats in Bengal, and people used to laugh at us. But let me tell you and draw two parallel figures. In 2016, the TMC got 215 seats out of 294. The BJP got 9. In 2019, if I project the Lok Sabha results onto the assembly, the TMC still ends up getting 164 seats, which is more than the majority, and the BJP ends up getting 129 seats and Congress 9. Now, my question to you, Mr. Dasgupta, is that, and my worry, not worry, but I think from your point of view, there should be a worry, that are you entirely banking on the 2021 election on only two planks? Number one plank, you're banking on an anti-Mamta sentiment. And the number two plank, you're banking on a consolidation of the Hindus. Now, if you look at the recent elections, let me just substantiate it. You can counter it for sure. If you look at the recent elections in Delhi, the BJP did not have a face. The Aam Aadmi Party had a face, and the Aam Aadmi Party could win the election despite a massive, I would say, one of the best election campaigns politically. If you look at it, raising the vote share from less than 30% to 38-40% was huge, but you lacked the face. Wherever there has been an anger against the face, you see whether it is Rajasthan, the BJP could not manage it. And whenever there people love a face like the Prime Minister, you have absolute majorities despite whatever the arithmetic calculations. So my question to you is your Bengal strategy only hinged on two pillars, that an extreme anti-Mamta sentiment is there, so the BJP will be able to come to power, and the number two is that you will have a majority polarization and consolidation of the Hindus? Do you feel that?
See, the first point, which you're completely right, is that it would be inaccurate to always believe that the Lok Sabha polls will automatically translate into an assembly thing. It does not. It can happen, but it's not automatic. People vote differently, and Odisha is the perfect example of people voting on the same day but voting differently.
In fact, sorry to intervene, Mr. Dasgupta. In fact, on the Odisha point also, let me tell the viewers, because the BJP did not have a chief minister face and people loved Naveen Patnaik, in Odisha, in the assembly, Naveen Patnaik could massively enjoy a huge majority, whereas the results did not have any correlation to the assembly Lok Sabha elections, where the BJP could manage 8 to 9 seats. Yes, please go on.
Secondly, the point which you're talking about is that what is the quantum of anti-incumbency? And does anti-incumbency necessarily mean that you must presidentialize the whole system? Now, today in Bengal, my assessment, and I believe the assessment of a lot of other people, is that Naveen Patnaik was never disliked.
Yes.
Mamta Banerjee today is disliked by a large number of people. So there is a tendency to vote against Mamta Banerjee. I believe that that assumption is very crucial to that. So there is likely to be a very strong anti-Mamta vote. Now, what is untested is, do we need to have a face to do that? Now, in Uttar Pradesh, you didn't need a face. In Rajasthan, you had a face, but you still lost, and the Congress didn't have a face. So the examples are very mixed, as you can see. Again, कोई template नहीं है.
Now the Lokniti, if you go by the Lokniti exit poll, post poll survey of how the communities voted in West Bengal, you'll find that in 2019, 58% of the Hindus voted for the BJP, with a slightly larger percentage of the scheduled tribes and scheduled castes voting for the BJP. As a result of which you can see, the geographical distribution of the seats. The weakness of the BJP at present is the area around Calcutta, Howrah, that particular, what might be called the greater Calcutta.
Yes,
that is the weak point of the BJP.
That is where I'm coming to. So if you look at the Lok Sabha elections, where we did the jankibaat survey, and recently also we did the survey, if I look at Bengal, the northern Bengal was entirely swept by the BJP. The center is where the fight was. The border areas where the Bangon and all these places where the Matuas come, the Matuas went ahead and voted for you because they dislike Mamta, because Mamta could not fulfill their promises of giving them the ST status and the other things. The last phase of the election, which happened in 2019, the greater Calcutta region, you could not manage a single seat. And this is where Mamta draws her main strength. So again, let me reiterate the question. Is Mamta Banerjee, or do you expect that Mamta Banerjee will be disliked enough? And as Narendra Modi was a massive factor in UP, because apart from the consolidation, Narendra Modi was a massive factor in Uttar Pradesh election. That's why you could sweep the assembly polls. Do you expect that in Bengal 2021, are you reiterating and confident that imposing the UP strategy in Bengal will work? And second, as you said that Mamta Banerjee is disliked, I agree with you. But is Mamta Banerjee, or will Mamta Banerjee be disliked enough near to the election? That is the main question.
Yeah, and it's a very relevant question.
Yes,
I mean it's a particularly relevant question, and more so because the BJP is organizationally weak in those areas, and the Trinamool is historically. Trinamool started from those areas. The entire origin of the Trinamool. If you look back at 2009 or something like that, you'll see 11 seats they got right from there, 11, 14 seats. Right? So this is an issue which I think is going to be thick. Yes, it is true that a vote in West Bengal will not be a vote to make Narendra Modi or Amit Shah the chief minister. I think that's quite clear. Now, whether it means that you put up stronger local candidates, whether it means you have to have a strong chief ministerial face, the fact is, this is yet work in progress. I will be honest and admit.
Absolutely.
अभी तय नहीं हुआ. अगर लोग देखेंगे, and people look at the data all the time. अरे election आजकल तो data से ही तो होता है ना. Election strategy. That's why people like you have a certain value, because people do go by not instincts alone. It's also data driven. So this is a relevant question, and I do say that this is something which the BJP will have to address in time and soon in the coming days. And perhaps that will also tell you why you've left your door open for some other people to come in.
That's a very open-ended answer, and that leaves door open to a lot of assumptions, and you're very smart at that. Well, and I think absolutely, and I appreciate that you're acknowledging this fact, because I do believe that this can be one fault line, or this can be your biggest strength, because you will only win this election, Mr. Dasgupta. As a psychologist, I can tell you that if the election is a complete narrative election, if it's a bits and pieces election, it will be difficult. So if the anti-Mamta sentiment, as you are reiterating, is enough to ensure that across Bengal you get put, I think that will be a very critical part. But you left
I'll just add one more thing. Yes,
no,
there are
just a second before you add your last comment on which you ended, beg your pardon, is that you have doors open for certain more people. Am I anticipating something big happening near the Calcutta region?
Well, I'm not necessarily privy to every single development, but we hope that something big will happen, and I think. But there are two other points which I think is that the messaging in an election, the narrative as you put it, or the messaging as I want to put it, has to be absolutely right.
Absolutely.
This is an election about, I would say, 50 wasted years of West Bengal, of which 10 of them have been under Mamta Banerjee. So that messaging of what we can give to West Bengal, what new direction we can give to West Bengal, new hope we can give to West Bengal, is very, very important. And one last point which I want to emphasize is that while you're right in talking about Hindu vote consolidation, yes, of course, that's a very important factor. But let's not forget that you may be surprised, and your data might tell you this, that there will be a substantial 25, if not 30% of the votes of the Bengali-speaking Muslims which might come to us. And that's a pretty high. And I deliberately say this, that sometimes we miss the point that the Muslim community in West Bengal can be divided into three parts. But one is the Urdu Hindi-speaking ones, which are near Calcutta. One is what I call the certain people who have actually come over from Bangladesh, whose traditions sometimes are a bit suspect. And third is the authentic indigenous Muslims of Bengali-speaking Muslims in Hooghly, Burdwan, those sort of areas, Midnapur. Don't write them off. And I think BJP would also be very wrong if they were to
I am agreeing to you on that part, Mr. Dasgupta, but I think that is dependent on a lot of factors.
Yes, of course.
Yes, and that will also depend on a lot of factors near the election.
That's why I said messaging. That's why I said messaging.
Absolutely, yes. I think that's very well answered on the professional front. There are two questions which I want to take, which are from the people they've been asking me. Can the KMC election 2020 and 2021 elections come together in Bengal? Because KMC had to happen, but the COVID crisis took place. Do you believe that that is a possibility, number one? And number two, the question to you is why the CBI is not doing anything on the Sharda Narda scams?
Well, I can answer the first one, but although not really perfectly. Yes, the KMC elections would do. Now, there are whispers that Mamta Banerjee would like to, the Calcutta is her stronghold.
Yes.
Half the ministers in her cabinet are elected from Calcutta. So she would like in between that. This year is unique that between Mahalaya and the pujas there is about 1 month time. So she would like to use that 1 month to somehow force an election. That is something which is. On the other hand, there are others who say that after the Amphan cyclone, the mess which the KMC made of actually handling the debris collection, is actually has made it worse. So the answer is, I don't know. My feeling is that Mamta Banerjee would probably like to have it simultaneously, partly because she can use those councillors to actually get the votes out. So there's a local add a look. But remember, it's not only KMC elections which are due. Howrah is due, and some other 30-40 municipalities are also due. So let's see if this is. But there is going to be a problem if that happens, because the municipal elections are run by the State Election Commission.
Yes.
And assembly elections are governed by the Central Election Commission. Now, ये दोनों एक साथ कभी एक unique situation आ जाएगा.
मैं दर्शक
कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल क्राइसिस आ जाएगा।
कि कैलकाटा हाईकोर्ट ने कमेंट भी किया था जब पंचायत इलेक्शंस हुए थे ऑन द वे द स्टेट इलेक्शन कमीशन हैड हैंडल्ड द एंटायर पंचायत इलेक्शंस एंड द अदर इलेक्शंस। द कैलकाटा हाईकोर्ट हैड कमेंटेड कि बंगाल के अंदर एक कैंडिडेट को अपने घर से बाहर निकल जाने में भी इतनी बड़ी दिक्कतें हैं। सो दैट वाज अ वेरी फेमस थिंग व्हिच हैपेंड। मिस्टर दासगुप्ता, एक सवाल मेरा आपसे ये है कि ममता बनर्जी एक बहुत बड़े होप पे आई थी। Bengal was suffering under the CPIM. Why do I say suffering? Because अगर आप बंगाल की एजुकेशन को उठा के देखेंगे, it has been entire in 1982 बंगाल की जितनी भी पब्लिक फंडेड इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं उसके अंदर इंग्लिश को अलाउ नहीं किया गया था, पर जितने भी टॉप CPM के लीडर्स थे उनके बच्चे जो थे वो इंग्लिश इंस्टीट्यूशन में पढ़ते थे, इंग्लिश पढ़ते थे. Now Mamta Banerjee had come on an anti-CPM plank. Dissect Didi for me, and this is a very intellectual, not a political question to you. Dissect Didi for me, because she had entirely come on a plank which was anti-CPM. Do you feel that the Mamta Banerjee of today is nothing but CPM served in a different manner?
Yes and no. You're very right in saying that Mamta Banerjee came to power in 2011 on the bank of a very great hope. People thought कि भाई इतना 30-35 साल left front था. Left front had been responsible for 2 or 3 things. Number one, the over politicization of education. They wanted control over everything. And they had also come to people's rejection. ये जो अंग्रेजी का issue है, what had happened was that Bengal in the past used to have a certain historical advantage. क्योंकि अंग्रेज पहले यहाँ बंगाल में आया था. So that historical accident, you might call it, also became a historical advantage for people in Bengal. So they had a better grasp of English than lots of other people. And so they could use it for jobs and things like that. Remember, Bengal में industry तो खत्म होने शुरू किया 1967 में. उसके बाद तो de-industrialization हो रहे थे. Bengal became a money order economy.
Yes.
हाँ. जो पहले लोग बोलते थे ईस्टर्न यूपी और बिहार में एज अ मनी ऑर्डर इकोनॉमी, बंगाल had become like that. So the point there was that the historical advantage of अंग्रेजी जाने के बाद, Mamta Banerjee repeated that thing in the point that everything from the appointment of the chaprasi to the vice chancellor was governed now by whether you were pro-Mamta, pro-Trinamool or not. And again, secondly, on top of that, something new entered the picture, which wasn't there that much in this CPM time, which was corruption. Corruption not of the sort of Nirav Modi scale or things like that. ये थोड़ा pickpocket corruption है. But it's because also Bengal is not a very prosperous thing. लोगों का छोटा अभी Bengal is one place where you can still get loose change.
Yes, true. I agree.
So you can understand that one place.
Yes.
So Bengal corruption.
I will agree with you for sure. Yeah, please.
So that sort of corruption in administration, in admission, and then you have an education, then you have a load of people presiding over the education. Arey bhai, there are allegations that one of the big ministers in charge of education, his so-called thesis was plagiarized. And one of the examiners became the vice chancellor of the university after that for having made him a PhD. So this is the environment. Now, education is one area. And do you realize one thing? In the last year, the Madhyamik examination, जो class 10 या 11 में होता है, 11 question papers were leaked and there was no re-examination. Now, what is the value of that? पहले हम लोग we used to snigger and things like that there were certain universities and boards जिसका आप certificate ले आते तो लोग बोलते अरे चलो भाई उसका तो एक अलग चीज है. They have उसका discounted हो जाता था. So the same discounting is likely to happen in West Bengal. There are some 21 universities in West Bengal which are controlled by the state. Look at their thing. Not any of them feature in anything. Jadavpur थोड़ा बहुत होता है, Calcutta. But apart from that, और वहां भी इतना ज्यादा politicization. So I think one of the big demands, and I'm saying this with all sense of responsibility, which I believe that the BJP must is not merely reform of education, but depoliticization of
I will
education.
come on to the education part because I want to ask questions to you in detail because a lot of people are disappointed with your government on not doing enough on education. But इस पे मैं एक बार रुकना चाहता हूँ. आपने इतना बोला, पर जब ये चीज ममता बनर्जी की सरकार से पूछी जाती है तो अमित मित्रा कहते हैं कि बंगाल जो है जीडीपी में सबसे ज्यादा अच्छी ग्रोथ कर रहा है, और डेरेक ओब्राइन जो है मनरेगा के डेटा देना चालू कर देते हैं एक इंडियन एक्सप्रेस अखबार में कि देखिए बंगाल ने सबसे ज्यादा मनरेगा की वेजेस दी. पर साथ में स्वपन जी जिसकी बात कोई नहीं करता है, जो मुझे एज काफी दुख होता है जिस बात पे, वो ये है कि बंगाल अपने डेमोग्राफिक डिविडेंड को खोता जा रहा है. अगर आप कोई भी व्यक्ति बंगाल के अंदर घूमेगा वो देखेगा कि इट इज नो लॉन्गर, जितना भी यूथ ऑफ बंगाल है वो बंगाल में है ही नहीं, इस बंगाल से बाहर जाते जा रहा है. डोंट यू फील दैट इज अ वेरी वेरी सीरियस सिंड्रोम? दैट इज अ वेरी सीरियस, and this is not just what was reported. This was reported in June 27, 2013 in Hindu Business Line. The headline was, there was the students are running away from Bengal. This was the precise headline. तो अब मुझे बताइए, जब इस तरफ की ये सच्चाई है, तो बंगाल की सरकार के अगर फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर कह रहे हैं कि बंगाल की जीडीपी ग्रोथ सबसे ज्यादा है और आप देख सकते हैं डेटा ये बता रहा है, तो इस पे क्या कहना चाहते हैं?
See, I can understand Amit Mitra or Derek saying something, and they have to say it. But what is the reality? The reality which people confront is that there is a one-way ticket system in Bengal. When you can, it's a lovely place to get out of. दूसरी चीज जो आप देखेंगे कलकत्ता एंड इट्स लार्जर ग्रेटर कलकत्ता, आप कोई हाउसिंग एस्टेट में जाइए इधर उधर, it's the world's biggest retirement home. Because all the able-bodied people, especially the young, have gone out. And only those people who have retired post-retirement जाके बैठ गया. So that demographic dividend तो गया ही है. On top of that, everything else, you're just looking at it in a way that West Bengal is confronted with a situation. It's become a no-hope state for Bengalis. Never mind. So, and on top of that, when you say by investment, Mamta Di has business summits and say so-and-so is going to invest, so-and-so. After that Singur fiasco, when Tata Motors removed its factory from Singur and took it to Gujarat, after that, the loss of confidence has been so great that everybody says, कि Bengal is a nice place. आप look at it, you Marwari industrialists है. बहुत लोग सब बंगाल के से ही आते हैं. The Bengal is the sort of capital of Marwari business in India. They have their houses still in Alipur and Baliganj. They still have a little bit of their back offices or accounts department रखते हैं. But their manufacturing units are either in Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Bangalore, and it's more important, overseas now. So this is the unfortunate situation which is presented in Bengal. So unless you take into account the confidence level of people, that to create investment in Bengal, to create opportunities, you need to reinstill confidence. And to reinstill confidence, you need a political climate which is against violence. और जब परिवेश आप ठीक करना पड़ेगा, आपको माहौल ठीक करना पड़ेगा. And that environment is not conducive. उसका लोगों का confidence नहीं है. उसके ऊपर एक chief minister है, आज जो बोलते हैं जो मर्जी. I mean, decision making and governance is not done by, giving instructions while walking or giving instructions in a press conference.
स्वपन जी, आपको बंगाल ने विश्वास देख के 18 सीटें जिताई थी लोकसभा में, जो हम लोग के सर्वे ने कहा था, जनकीबात के सर्वे ने कहा था. आपको लगता है कि जो आपकी 18 सांसद हैं वो बंगाल में अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं और इतना अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं जिससे कि आपको राजनीतिक फायदा होगा 2021 के असेंबली चुनाव में और नुकसान नहीं होगा? क्या आपको आश्वस्त? मैं ये सवाल पूछ रहा हूँ, ये मेरा आखिरी सवाल है बंगाल पे, फिर मैं एजुकेशन में 2-3 सवाल पूछूंगा. क्योंकि ये जो 2021 की आपकी लड़ाई है, इसमें ये भी चीज बहुत महत्वपूर्ण होगी कि बंगाल ने आपको विश्वास दिया 18 सीटों पे, पूरे नॉर्थ में आपको विश्वास दिया है, वेस्ट में विश्वास दिया है. तो अगर आपके सांसद, आपको क्या लगता है, कई लोग कहते हैं कि भाई आपके सांसद इतना काम नहीं कर रहे जितना करना चाहिए था, और ऐसा ये टीएमसी भी आरोप लगाती है, और कई लोग मीडिया के अंदर भी, बंगाल की मीडिया की अगर आप खबरें देखेंगे तो ऐसा कहते हैं. आपको लगता है कि आरोप है या आपके इसको मैं चाहता हूं कि आप थोड़ा डिस्पैशनेटली बताएं.
See, there is always a big problem is what do you expect from the MPs?
एक सेकेंड और मैं रोकना चाहूंगा, मेरी बात सुनिए. जॉन बारला जब अलीपुर द्वार के अंदर जाते हैं तो अभी साइक्लोन एम्फन में तो उनको रोक दिया जाता है. अर्जुन सिंह बैरकपुर के हैं, वो जब जाते हैं तो उनको रोक दिया जाता है. दिलीप घोष जो है वो आपके वेस्ट बंगाल बीजेपी के प्रेसिडेंट हैं, वो जाते हैं तो उनको रोक दिया जाता है. तो अगर स्टेट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन अपने तंत्र को इस्तेमाल करके आपके मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट को जमीन पे नहीं आने देगी तो इससे तो आपको राजनीतिक नुकसान भी होगा. क्या आपके मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट उतना कर रहे हैं जितना उनको करना चाहिए था बंगाल के लिए?
देखिए, इसमें दो प्रॉब्लम है. पहले तो द प्रॉब्लम व्हिच यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट एंड द प्रॉब्लम इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट बिकॉज ये at every point, whether it is during the COVID crisis or the Amphan crisis or whatever, the BJP MPs have been prevented at every point from doing it. Secondly, there is a clash, total clash between MLAs and the MPs at every point. Third, on top of that, the MPs, apart from MP lads, had no patronage powers in the past, as you well know. अब तो वो भी गया है. एमपी लैड्स भी तो बंद हो गया अभी. तो लोगों का एमपी का ऊपर एक्सपेक्टेशन क्या है? एक्सपेक्टेशन है कि यार चलो भाई हमारा पास रहेंगे, आएंगे, थोड़ा विजिट करेंगे. एट बेस्ट आप चिट्ठी लिखेंगे सेंट्रल मिनिस्ट्री को, थोड़ा इधर करेंगे उधर करेंगे. तो इट्स बट आई डोंट थिंक एनीबॉडी एक्सपेक्ट्स that the MPs, as long as they keep direct contact with their constituency, as long as that is maintained, I don't think people expect the MPs to work miracles. That they expect the corporator, the panchayat and the MLAs. अब देखेंगे very few times if they ask कि MLA MP क्या कर रहे हैं, ये तृणमूल हो या बीजेपी, MP का थोड़ा the relationship of the MP to the voter is a little detached and distant. So I don't think that is going to be a factor in that. But
yes, I will. You want to complete, please?
No. All I'm saying is that what will matter is whether you are able to actually give tickets to reasonably representative people. You can take people from other parties, but if you give tickets to dagi people, जिसका reputation खराब है, then you will suffer their anti-incumbency also.
Yes, that is why, and I will caution you. I will caution you with the data, and that is my thing. That in Mednipur you won the Lok Sabha, but the Mednipur Assembly is something which you lost. So these are things which you need to really take care of, because there are certain grey areas which will be. You have
absolutely, and that is why feedback like yours is very important.
Mr. Dasgupta, I am disappointed with you and particularly with the government on one front, and this is just not my disappointment, but this is also a disappointment of lot of people who believe in your ideology, and me as a dispassionate observer is also disappointed on one front, and that is particularly to do with education. Now, on 27 September 2018, the ex-HRD Minister Prakash Javadekar said, and I quote, "Not even a single chapter of history has been rewritten in 4 years." Mr. Dasgupta, you've written a book, and this is a very fantastic book, Awakening Bharat Mata. This is a very fantastic book, and everybody, Mr. Dasgupta, who had voted you, and whether it is your ideological patrons or anybody who believes in your ideology, apart from the electoral benefits which you get, are disappointed on one front, and this is that you have not reformed the education. Why will the history only be written by the likes of Rumila Thapars? And why have you not done enough? What have you done? In fact, Lord, let me rephrase this. What have you done for the education in the NCERT textbooks in the coming years, in the past 6 years?
I think it's a very fair question. But first, let me just point out that a lot of the emphasis on the education has been towards building capacity, and quite a lot of it has been done in the case of science and technical education. But you're entirely right that when it comes to curriculum, when it comes to history books, which people feel very passionately about, not enough has been done. And what Prakash said was actually an admission of failure. कि अब कुछ नहीं बदलाया. नहीं, को बदलना चाहिए. आपको तो बदलना चाहिए, क्यों नहीं हुआ? अगर now here also some questions arise. Where are our scholars?
मैं आ रहा हूँ उसमें.
Where are our scholars? Where are they doing the work which we can put in? They have also been lazy.
Absolutely.
What you are saying, the dominance of the left historians from JNU and all the Romila Thapar has not happened overnight. It happened because they started their process right from 1970 and continued till 2014. अब यहां से लोग तो अभी तक शुरू किया. So they have to redouble their efforts. You bring out the alternative textbooks and make sure. और textbooks जब करना है ना, सिर्फ ज्यादा एक तरफ नहीं होना चाहिए. It has to be fair after all, because this is a place in for school students. So I would say yes, you're right in saying that, but the fault also lies with people of our ideological system that we haven't done enough.
And Mr. Dasgupta, and मेरा next question भी इसी पे था कि मेरा ये मानना है कि आप कभी भी किसी चीज में प्रोफेशनल एक्सपर्टीज और एक्सीलेंस बहुत जरूरी है. मैं अब कुछ भी बात कर लूं किसी भी मुद्दे पे, अगर मैंने मेरा काम जो सेफोलॉजी है, अगर मैंने उसमें गलत चुनाव प्रेडिक्ट किए तो मेरी प्रोफेशनल एक्सपर्टीज कम होगी, तो मेरी बाकी जो वैल्यू है वो भी कम हो जाएगी. तो आपको नहीं लगता कि जो आपकी विंग को बुलाया जाता है, जो राइट विंग है, वो इस वक्त एक प्रोएक्टिव राइट विंग नहीं है, एक रिस्पॉन्सिव राइट विंग है, जो आजकल जो मेनली फोकस किया जाता है कि कोई भाई लेफ्ट वाले ने कुछ किया उसको बैश करो, उसको कोट ट्वीट करो और ट्रेंड चला दो. पर जैसे कि आपने कहा कि स्कॉलरली वर्क अगर मैं गिनवाना चाहूं पिछले 6 सालों के अंदर कि कोई ऑल्टरनेट स्कॉलरली वर्क, अगर एक रोमेला थापर है तो दूसरा ऑल्टरनेट स्कॉलरली वर्क कहां है जो उसको काउंटर कर सकता है? ये कमी आपको नहीं लगती जिसको बहुत जरूरी है सुधारने की? क्योंकि स्वपन जी, आप ये टीवी पे कहा करते थे जब आप CNN IBN पे बैठा करते थे राजदीप सरदेसाई के साथ में कि एक लीडर को और एक सिस्टम को जज किया जाता है नॉट जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ प्रेजेंट, बट उसके बारे में हिस्ट्री उसको किस तरीके से जज करती है. तो अगर आपके लोग हिस्ट्री लिखने वाले नहीं होंगे, अगर आपके लोग स्कॉलरली राइटिंग लिखने वाले नहीं होंगे, जो आपके आइडियोलॉजी के होंगे बट स्टिल ऑब्जेक्टिव होंगे, राइट, जैसे कि आपने कहा, तो आप लंबी लड़ाई नहीं जीत पाएंगे.
You're absolutely right on one point, but let us look at it. Till about 2012-13, if you said that you are belonging to the right and not the left, they would laugh at you. They would not give you any space. So you are a very seriously persecuted minority, and I can say this with personal experience.
That's why I called you a minority.
As not only a minority, a persecuted minority.
Yes, I know.
Now you're coming of age, and more people are coming in and speaking out, etc. अगर the first flush of enthusiasm जब होता है ना, तब थोड़ा ज्यादा कभी-कभी लोग बोल देता है, क्योंकि इनिशियल एंथुजियाज्म इतना दिन जब दबा के रखा है तो जोश ज्यादा हो जाता. Now to move from there to creating a more rounded and a more intellectually solid foundation on which you can base yourself, which is not only true of history. What is your view on the economy? What is your view on the larger world system? And on certain of these issues, I think you're doing very well. You have got a more rounded view of what is your national interest when it comes to foreign policy. Strategic studies में आप कर रहे हैं, लेकिन आपको कमी होता है कब? Oh, that history, that entire history question, where I think a bit too much of emotion sometimes, gussa and emotion takes over. And third point is, which I must point out, is that unfortunately, the idiom in which this is presented in the whole world has been set by the West. और अभी आप देखेंगे ना कि आप हिंदी या बंगला या मराठी या तमिल, उसमें जो लोग लिखते हैं, they don't get the same prominence as those people who write in English. And even those who write in English don't get the same prominence unless you write in a particular mold, जिसको हम idiom कहते हैं. You have to have that idiom to write it. And then there is the ecosphere. The left still dominates publishing, the left still dominates media, the left still dominates the international seminar circuit.
Yes.
So let's remember that.
And that is what has to be changed, because there has to be a balancing of narrative. I have just last three questions. Number one question, Mr. Dasgupta, you spoke about the world, what is happening in the world in the name of Black Lives Matter, and you've written a piece. And I want your views. That is Black Lives Matter a movement of right to equality or right and a voice against discrimination? Or is it an attempt, and let me tell you why do I say that, is it an attempt by a group of people who have started to understand that it is not possible for them to electorally and win the will of the people. It is not possible for them to win the popular will in a democracy, so they are legitimizing protest, which has now turned violent. How do you see that?
See, when people say Black Lives Matter, I say all lives matter. It's not merely black or thing. Secondly, as you may have noticed in India, ab pehle dekhiye, there is a group of people who lose election battle after election battle, who are voted out, whose voice, whose opinions are rejected by parliament. So what do? They rush to the courts. They believe that they can overturn the will of the people by going to the courts. Now, a very similar situation has arisen in the United States and to some extent the United Kingdom and some of the other English-speaking areas, where those whose views they thought were unacceptable have started winning electorally. So what do you do? You create minorities, and you put a lot of thinking. Minorities are really, it's the aggregation of minorities which will actually settle the future. Aggregation of different forms of discontent. And they look at the manner in which, because of defeats, the American Democratic Party has veered sharply to the left. There is no, if you look at John Kennedy and you look at some of the Democrats today, both were from the Democratic Party. Usko to there is no similarity.
No sense.
Likewise, you see in Britain, if you read most of the papers and everything, they'll say, "Arey, Brexit, ye ek bada ganda cheez hai," etc. Logo to, with great deal of enthusiasm, they've supported it. So there is this difference between what the people are thinking and what a section of the elite are thinking. And there is a difference between what the people are thinking and a section of the intellectual elite are thinking. So there are two things. Our intellectual elite campuses mein, they have created a pagal, they have been mad environment where they call safe zones, where only certain types of opinion are accepted, and their opinion is the only opinion which matters. And based on this sort of thing, today we are having sort of extremist movements like Black Lives. Now, there is racism in America. I have no doubt about it. But I don't think that America may have a problem. If America sneezes, it's not necessary for the rest of Europe to catch pneumonia. So, it's just this is a sort of form of Hollywood ka trend aa gaya, to yahan chalo. Ab dekho, Gone with the Wind. You've removed Gone with the Wind from the things because it dealt with slavery. Arey bhai, it's historical. Ab dikhate ho, ab India mein kya hone, if this sort of trend actually translates into India,
तो फिर आपको पूरी मूल हिस्ट्री में चालू हो जाएंगे. You will have to re-question everything, that same trend if you apply to India. But Mr. Dasgupta, let me ask you, but just a small supplementary, these people say that democracy is just not about the popular will, and this I want to ask you intellectually because you've been commenting. It's just not about the will of the majority, and it's just not represented during the elections. It is also about the others. So what do you say to these people when they, whenever you give this argument? This is their counter that, you need to relook at democracy, you need to relook at the others. It's just not about elections. So what, 50% people voted? What about the other 10%? And this is their premise of, having movements on street and legitimizing protest.
No, I can understand that there is always a certain respect and dignity which you must give to minority opinion. You can't say that minority opinion should be thrown out of the window. But equally, that does not mean that you must necessarily mean that the majority of the people are fools. And today, for instance, what we have is, अब 2014 में इलेक्शन हार गया, अब 2019 में हार गया, अब बोल रहे हैं कि जो लोग बीजेपी को वोट देते हैं वो सब गधा है. They are not intellectually as sophisticated as us. Look at them. They're a bunch of fools. They don't have any meaning, sophistication. They don't have any political pedigree. So that contempt which they come about, that you must scuttle them up, you must scuttle them at every possible means. And that is what really, and this is what happened during the CAA. That at every point you said that we must not allow them to govern. We must create these little islands of resistance at every point. So this is a difference from having a minority point of view. I had a minority point of view for so long. I recognize that. And
you should write.
So let us think about and look at the people who are saying it. Oh, you can't take away. कौन बोल रहा है?
स्वपन जी, मैं बताना चाहता हूँ कि इनफैक्ट मैं तो बड़ा ही नया हूँ, पर मैं लोकसभा में 400 लोकसभा घूमने का मुझे मौका मिला था, और जब मैं जमीन पे चीज देखता था, आई हैव कम अक्रॉस पीपल एज द वाइजेस्ट, और जो यहाँ पे बैठा करते थे वो बिना घूमे सब ऐसे देश के बारे में बात करते थे जैसे कि देश की अथॉरिटी ओपिनियन उन्हीं पे. पेनल्टीमेट क्वेश्चन मेरा ये है कि वेयर डू यू सी द इंडियन पॉलिटी गोइंग, स्वपन जी? बिकॉज नाउ देयर आर टू व्यू पॉइंट्स. Which era is Indian polity entering into? And is it, do you see an emergence of some small regional outfits along with, because right now the BJP is the main pole of the polity right now, like the Congress was in its 70s and 80s. How do you see the Indian polity going forward? Because you are a political thinker. How do you see that?
Well, you're right, because I think what has happened is the BJP is there, but the Congress, which was the principal national opposition, is going through very difficult days. And unless it is moving in very different sort of unclear directions, kabhi left ban jata, kabhi NGO ban jata, kabhi purana Congress ho jata. So it's a very mixed bag, and they're not very sure. And I think on top of that, they have a leadership crisis, which is based on whether dynastic factor should be allowed or not. I mean, let's face it, that's at the heart of the thing. Now, it is inevitable that there will be opposition to the BJP. Now, where does this opposition come? And we notice that in most places, there is the regional parties which are providing the most. And if there isn't regional parties, there are creations, these sort of unlikely coalitions. Maharashtra is a very good example of this. What is the opposition is now still not, what is the government and what is the opposition is still not very clear. It's in a state of total fluid. Shiv Sena has moved from with the NDA to being with the Congress and the NCP. Now, has the cadre, the followers of Shiv Sena been able to digest this?
No, I can tell you from the ground, no.
Have they been able to digest this? So that in itself will create a different thing. It will mean that the BJP, which was a smaller party, will now become a bigger party. And then there is a movement of the national parties once again into the northeast and east. Assam is a very good example now. So you have these different trends. And secondly, you have a trend towards increasing presidentialization. So who is the chief minister? Who is the prime minister matters increasingly more and more. That point is there. At the same time, there is this third point, which I think is worth talking about. The balance between parliamentary sovereignty and judicial review. Iska jo chakkar chal raha hai na, it is not yet settled. You had earlier a chief justice who was an activist. Today you have a chief justice who believes that the job of the courts is to interpret the law, not make them.
So judicial activism has taken
activism. Yes, a trend.
That will go on, Swapanji. That is something which will go on. On the former part, I do agree with you, and this is where I had a thesis which says that the value of MPs in a larger election, as the election becomes more, a bigger election, the value of the MP is reduced. So if today I look at a value of MP would be less compared to if I look at the value of an MP say 10 years back, because people are looking at faces. Similar is the instance even at a state level, where people will, rather than looking at an MLA, more look at the chief minister. But at the extremely local level, like a panchayat level or say a municipal level, that's where your local factors come into picture. My last question to you, Swapan ji, और ये सवाल मैं नहीं पूछ रहा हूँ, ये व्हाट्सएप का सवाल है. व्हाट्सएप पे काफी लोग ऐसा कह रहे हैं कि आपको दिल्ली में बड़ा रोल मिलने वाला है. इसके बारे में आप क्या कहना चाहते हैं? आप सक्रिय ज्यादा रूप से होने वाले हैं दिल्ली में, ये इस पे कुछ आप टिप्पणी देना चाहते हैं? People are wanting you to in responsibilities in Delhi. What do you want to say on that?
Well, that's
That
very
is a
flattering.
journalistic question.
That's very flattering, but increasingly I thought that earlier the charge against me was that you're spending too much time in Delhi. So Modi ji at one time said tum Bengal jao. So I've been spending increasingly more and more time in Bengal. Before this COVID thing came in, I got stranded in Delhi for some time. I have always played a certain role in shaping the thinking of the BJP. That is, I believe, that is my core strength in engaging in intellectual battles, whether it's in Bengal, whether it's in a Delhi larger framework. In the process, as you say, हमारा हिंदी भी थोड़ा सुधरा गया, थोड़ा इम्प्रूव हो गया. पहले हम हिंदी बोलते थे तो बंगला में उसको ट्रांसलेट करना पड़ता.
अब आप थोड़ी सी आपकी मात्राएं भी बेहतर हो गई है.
So there are certain things, but whatever it is, there are roles which I'm playing, and I'm involved in the Nehru Memorial Museum quite a lot.
You would like rumors to become true?
I beg your pardon?
Do you want those rumors to become true?
No, you see, the rumors to both hote hai, because these days you have a certain source-based journalism, what is called source-based. Now, in the case of source-based journalism, you can write anything.
Yes.
Now, whether they are my friends or whether they are my enemies is an open question.
True.
So, without adding, so I think it's the question I would leave to you: are these people necessarily my friends?
That is for you to answer. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a very fascinating conversation with Mr. Swapan Dasgupta. I am extremely thankful to you, Mr. Dasgupta, that you've been very fortunate. I have been very fortunate that you've responded to every question. And please take care of your health. And I do hope that you are more active in Bengal, and whatever you do, you're successful. Thank you so much for this jankibaat conversation, and see you soon. Thank you. Pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.